I hope all of you physically healthy and mentally happy. At the beginning, so first we generate bodhicitta. Actually, all of you already chant the chanting about generating bodhicitta. Every day in the morning, when we generate bodhicitta, then whole day you feel you have a lot of positive energies. Particularly when you face problems with someone and somebody, also you know how to overcome from anger and hatred. The generating bodhicitta is a very important according to Mahayana Buddha's teaching, not just important according to teachings, also it is very important, also very useful in our daily life. Everybody feel okay to having some the physical, economic problems. So you're able to accept the problems. Also, you're able to overcome the physical problems, the material problems. When we face the emotional problems, particularly facing a lot of problems based on anger and hatred, first, we're not able to accept the problems. Second, we really don't know how to overcome it. Therefore, at the beginning, we generate bodhicitta. In order to generate it, first, visualize all sentient beings. You can imagine you just looking around you, you can see the all sentient beings around us. When we look at them, when we see them, we feel the all sentient beings are not happy. They are always searching. They are always looking happiness. Therefore, please cultivate compassion, the great compassion, the pure, unconditional compassion towards all sentient beings. And wish all sentient beings be happy, achieve ultimate happiness, and the cause of happiness. In this moment, we don't have the powers, abilities to free all sentient beings from suffering. We don't have the ability to bring all sentient beings into the enlightened state. If we become Buddha, then we can benefit all sentient beings, all kinds of sentient beings. Therefore, second, wish to be Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. In order to become a Buddha, we need to practice the Dharma, the pure path, which is lead us to enlightened, fully enlightened state. In order to practice Dharma, we need refuge, the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha. Therefore, please take refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Within the taking refuge, please visualize the Buddha Shakyamuni according to the picture which is being used for practicing meditation. Please continuously meditate on the image of the Buddha in your mind, the mental image, and wish to be Buddha as Buddha Shakyamuni, who is fully enlightened being. So in order to become Buddha, we need to be freed from ignorance. Therefore, please do the analytical meditation from ignorance all the way to the aging and death. So in order to do the analytical meditation based on the 12 links dependent origination, first we need to reflect. We need to need to realize the truth, reality of the samsara, the truth, reality of the dukkha, which is the physical body which is we have. The samsara where we live, the physical body which is we have, all of them originated from ignorance. Ignorance. Ignorance is the most powerful root of the samsara, most powerful root of the negative thoughts. Therefore, first meditate on emptiness, then karma, consciousness, all the way to trailing, all the way to aging of death. Once more, first, ignorance. Ignorance arises, karma, volition. Ignorance and karma arise, consciousness. The consciousness, karma, ignorance, they arise, name and form. The name and form arise, the 6 sources. Ignorance, karma, consciousness, name and form, sources, arise, contact. Contact, arise, feeling. Contact and feeling arise, attachment, clinging. Contact, feeling, attachment, arise, grasping. Contact, feeling, desire, grasping, arise, becoming. Contact, feeling, desire or attachment, grasping, becoming, arise, birth. Birth, arise, aging, and death. Aging and death arise from birth. The birth arises from becoming. Becoming arises from grasping. Grasping arises from clinging. Attachment, desire, all of them arise from feeling. Feeling arises from contact. Contact arises from the six sources. The six sources arise from name and form. The name and form arise from the consciousness. The consciousness arise from the karma. The karma, all the 11 links arise from ignorance. Therefore, how we are in samsara for many aeons. If ignorance ceases based on realizing selflessness, emptiness, then karma can be ceased. Ignorance, karma ceases, then consciousness all the way to the birth cease. The birth cease, aging and death can be ceased. Aging and death cease, stop, because of we stop rebirth. Rebirth, aging and death can be stopped if we stop becoming all the way to karmas. Accumulating karma, the karma can be stopped if we are able to stop ignorance to arise. Ignorance can be stopped if we realize emptiness, selflessness. In order to realize emptiness, in order to generate the wisdom, we need to practice the Dharma. Therefore, Avalokiteshvara ask question, what is the Dharma? Then Dharma is here, the 8 unfold Arya path. the eighth unfold Arya path. So I already explained to you the meaning of the eightfold path, that unfold or eightfold, right? Eightfold eight paths of the Noble One. The Dharma is the eightfold path of the Noble One. That means eightfold paths. So what are the eightfold path? Then a right view. The right view is very important to overcome from ignorance. The right view. Then the right view has a, I think they are a different level. If we truly, fully believe a positive karma arise positive result, negative karma produce negative result. This is also one of the right view. If you have a right view about, the law of causality based on karma, then it stop you to engage into negative action. It encourage you to engage into positive actions. Right view. Also, all the conditioned phenomena is changing momentarily, include our life, our family, our belongings, the place where we live. Everything is changing momentarily. But due to the mistaken mind, we don't realize impermanence. We don't realize the subtle meaning of impermanence. When we realize the subtle impermanence, then we have a right view, the right understanding of our life, the right understanding about our belongings, the right view about all the conditional phenomena, right view. And also, we always believe ourselves. My body, the physical body is very strong, very healthy, very clean, very attractive, very beautiful. This is our view about our own physical body. Also, we have a view about physical body, about other physical body. We are fully mistaken whether your physical body or other physical body. The physical body is totally made of bone, flesh, blood, all kinds of things comes together, and we believe this is so nice, this is attractive, this is beautiful. So when we realize the truth nature of this physical body, then we have the right view. Therefore, the right view has different levels. The final, the ultimate, the finest view is emptiness. Emptiness. So when we realize emptiness, then we're going to understand, we're going to realize that ignorance is the king of the samsara, or the root of the samsara until now. Today we feel, I realize the truth, reality of ignorance. So when we realize emptiness, then we fully understand ignorance. Then all the negative thoughts going to be controlled. When all the negative thoughts going to be controlled, then we're not going to accumulate any new kinds of negative karmas, particularly the new karma to take another rebirth. Therefore, ignorance ceases, then karma can be ceased. Ignorant karma can be ceased, then the attachment, desire, anger cannot bring, cannot give us another rebirth. So when we don't need to take another samsaric kind of life, then there's no aging, then there's no death. Aging means every day, every moment, our physical body is changing. Childhood, teenager, then adult, then old, very old. Aging is based on the physical body. When we say somebody died, that means somebody leave this body. This body cannot support anymore to the person. Therefore, ignorance is the rest of the 11 links can be ceased. Then we can be free from samsara. We can be free from sufferings. We're going to achieve the happiness. Therefore, the right view. Then, right thoughts. When you have a right view, then your thought is always right. When your view is wrong, then your thought is always wrong. Therefore, last time I explained the 8-fold paths based on the will. In order to have a complete will, we need the center point to attach the spokes. The central point is the right action, the right livelihood, the right speech. Three things are very important. If you always speak truthfully, everybody trusts you. Right? Central is Shila. Then the spokes are the wisdom. Then the ring is the samadhi. So in order to practice the dharma, we need to know the 8-fold paths. These 8-fold paths is a very common practice between Theravada practitioner and Mahayan practitioner. Therefore, many Buddhists very much interested in meditation, which is very good. They are only focused on meditation on the breath. Try to have a single pointed mind. Only achieving single pointed mind is nothing special. Nothing special to achieve the single pointed minds. Based on the breathing meditation is one of the important technique to achieve single pointed minds or kama body. Right? Therefore, we need the right view. So the last class, so we talk about the Eightfold Paths. One must make sure you understand the eights. The first, the right view. Second is the right thoughts. Those are included into the wisdom. Then right speech and right action, right livelihood are included into practice of Shila. Then the right effort, right mindfulness, and the right concentration are included into practice of Samadhi. That means practice of Shila, practice of Gyan, or the wisdom, and practice of Samadhi. Therefore, this eightfold path of the noble ones, combined with the attainment of its result and nirvana. Dharma has a true meaning. The path which is lead to the cessation. The path which is lead to the Buddhahood. This is also Dharma. The liberation is said. The Buddhahood is said also Dharma. Therefore, when we say, I take refuge into Dharma, we should not just imagine, visualize all the Buddha teachings. The meaning, particularly the path and the achievement, Dharma can be the path, can be the result of the path. So when we say, I take refuge into Buddha, you should not just remember the Buddha statues, tankas and painting and images. You must remember the person who have the complete qualities, the physical qualities, the mental qualities, and the speech qualities, Buddha. When we take refuge into Sangha, we should not just imagine all the monks and nuns. We just visualize the person who practice the Four Noble Truths, trailing dependent origination, particularly all the practice include into the Eightfold Paths. That means mainly the person who reach to the Arhat state, Arya state. Doesn't matter the person is male or female, Sangha. Then we just kept the meaning of the Buddha. Then next we learn page number 96. Moreover, dependent arising emerges from two principles. What are the two principles? That means here the causal relation and conditional relation. Causal refer to the primary cause. Condition refer to the rest of the cause to produce something. For example, so right now we are studying the rice seedling sutara. The seeds of the rice seeds. The seeds is the primary cause. Then the six elements are the conditional cause. Therefore, emerges from two principles. From what two principles? from a causal relation and conditional relation. Furthermore, it should be seen as a twofold, outer and inner. First, everybody must know whatever we need to grow. We need two important conditions, two importance. First, the causal, the cause, the primary cause. Second, then we need the conditional cause. For example, growing rice, growing mango tree, growing flower. Depends on, what types of flower you're going to grow. First, seeds. Second, rest of the condition. It is a two, the outer and inner. Outer is based on the, flower and fruits. What are the causal relation in outer dependent arising? It is follows. From a seed comes a sprout. From a sprout, a leaf. From a leaf, a stem. From a stem, pedicle. From a pedicle, pistil, from spirit, all the flower and fruits. This is what we understand what does mean, right? Then they mention 6 elements. So what are the 6 elements? First, the 4 elements: earth, water, fire, and air elements. We must say earth elements, water elements, fire elements, air elements. We should not say just fire, water, so elements. There's an important meaning. Then space. Then seasons or timings. Very important. In order to grow the good mango fruits, in order to grow the good mango apple, first we need healthy seeds. The seeds must be very healthy. Then we need 4 elements, the right amounts of the 4 elements. If you wish to grow good mango, adding a lot of water is no good. Adding a lot of soil is no good. Putting a lot of sun and heat is no good. Put the flower, the seeds or the sprout in in the middle of the wind, lot of wind, no good. The right amounts. Then plus, in order to grow the seeds, we need an empty space. Then in order to fully grow the tree and fruits, we need the right timing. For example, you are living in Tibet. You wish to grow a mango. If you put the seeds in the winter time, you cannot grow. If you grow like a mango, like a sprout, middle of the summer, you cannot get the fruits. Therefore, the right timing is very important. Therefore, 6 elements. 6 elements. This is the analogy. This is the kind of example. Now we need to think happiness. What we need to practice Dharma. Why we are studying Dharma? Why? We are not studying Dharma in order to be rich. We are not studying in order to be famous. We are studying Dharma in order to achieve the ultimate happiness. we are studying Dharma in order to provide, in order to give ultimate happiness for others. The happiness is our achievement for happiness for others. So in order to achieve happiness, we need the right, like a primary cause. If you ask, of course everybody wish to be happy. Even though you are like 100 years old, your physical body is very weak. Your breath is so shallow. You cannot digest, like a lot of food. You cannot drink a lot of water, lot of drink. Still, you have a very strong desire, strong wishing to be happy, achieving happiness. Even though you don't have anything, not anything, still you wish to be happy. If I ask you a question here, how we can achieve happiness, how you can be happy all the time, how we can achieve ultimate happiness, how we can try to be happy for the short time. Yes, the answer can be different. Somebody say, oh, if I have a lot of money, I can be very happy. My family are very happy. Is not the right answer. If you say, oh, if I'm physically very healthy, physically very fit, I can be very happy. Also, this answer is not the right answer. Or somebody say, oh, if I have a healthy relationship, I have a healthy friendship with everybody, I can be very happy. Is also not truth. Not truth. So how you can achieve happiness, how you can be happy? The answer correctly we can say, if I control my negative thoughts, if I generate positive thoughts, I can be happy. I can achieve happiness. Because the negative thoughts arise a lot of problems. Most of the problems arise from the negative thoughts, except aging and death. Otherwise, when we say, I'm not happy, again, because you have a lot of negative thoughts. If you say, I'm not happy with my family, I'm not happy with my friends, I'm not happy with my colleagues, again, you don't know how to control your negative thoughts. If you complain, I don't have enough things, I don't have things which I need, therefore I'm not happy. Again, you are not controlling your desire, your attachment. In order to survive, in order to have a happy life, how much thing we need? How many mobile we need? Mobile phone. How many computer we need? How many shoes and clothes we need? There's no such number. If you don't control your desire, attachment, temptation, even though your house is full of gold and diamond and dollar, you never feel happy. You never feel happy. Even though you have millions of friends, billions of friends, they like you, they care you. If you don't control your negative thoughts, you never be happy. Therefore, how we can achieve happiness? What is the main cause to achieving happiness? Generate the positive thoughts. cultivate the positive thoughts. We already have the positive thoughts. We don't need to, find the new thoughts to generate. We have a compassion, generate, develop furthermore. We have a kindness, we have a kind heart. We develop furthermore. We have a patience. we need to develop furthermore. Then we can achieve happiness. We can be happy all the time. Also, we need to reduce the negative thoughts. All the negative thoughts we already have, we need to apply the Buddha teaching, reduce the negative thoughts, generate the positive thoughts. Then you feel happy. You're happy with everything. As a husband, you always complain about your wife. As a wife, you always complain about your husband because of the negative thoughts. Or also we have a lot of complaints about friends and family, weather, job, whatever. All the complaints we have because we cannot control the negative thoughts. Therefore, achieving happiness is depend on how much you generate the positive thoughts, how much you control negative thoughts. Right? Therefore, achieving happiness is our ultimate goal. So now we are talking the inner, dependent arising. First, as a seeds, we have the seeds: compassion, kindness, tolerance, be honest, honesty. Those are the seeds. Second, we need the secondary cause, the Buddha teaching. So Buddha teaching is a kind of technique to generate the seeds, cultivate the seeds, reduce the negative thoughts. Buddha never give us, new compassion. Buddha teach us how to develop compassion, how to develop patience, how to control negative thoughts. Therefore, the inner cause and condition to achieving happiness. Therefore, the second we will study a little bit about the inner dependent arising. So before it, there's another, I think, sentence very important. Page number 96, the last sentence, the last paragraph. In the process means seeds all the way to the fruits. In the process, the seeds does not think I form the sprout, nor does the sprout think I am formed by the seeds. Seed doesn't have a thoughts, I want to produce a fruits. The fruit doesn't have a thoughts, I'm formed, I produce by the seeds. All the condition come, the right condition come together, then the generativity is there. Finally, there's a fruits. Right? Then what say another important here, the second, page number 96, the second paragraph. So how is the conditional relation in outer dependent arising to be seen as due to coming together of the six elements, due to the coming together of the six elements, as the due to coming together of the which six elements, namely conditional dependent arising is to be seen as a due to the coming together of the elements of the earth, water, fire, wind, space, and seasons. Then the earth element function as the support of the seeds. The water elements moisten the seeds. The fire elements ripen the seeds. The wind elements open the seeds. The space elements perform the function of not obstructing the seeds. The seasons transform the seeds. Without these conditions, a sprout cannot form from a seeds. But when the outer elements of the earth is not deficient, and likewise water, fire, wind, space, and season not deficient, then form coming together of all these functions are sprout from the seed is ceasing. Therefore, you say all the 6 elements come together. Then finally, we have a very nice fruits. Same thing, happiness. Therefore, we wish to be happy. Therefore, what we usually do, for example, when you woke up early morning, you feel bit loneliness, you feel very insecure about your life, you feel sense of scary. What we usually do, certainly you pray to Buddha, you recite mantra, you do chanting, you just pray to Buddha. That moment you feel calm, you feel the calmness. Feel the calmness, you feel good, you feel relief. But it's for short time. Actually, there's a 2 condition. One, while you pray to Buddha, you recite chanting, your focus is fully changed. Your mind is totally diverse. For 10, 20 minutes, maybe a few hours. When your mind is totally diverse, then that moment you don't have all the negative thoughts. You feel good about, you feel happy. But second, there's a blessing, there's a lot of power of the mantra chanting, but those are not the actual condition to achieve happiness. For example, you are seriously ill. Your condition is a very critical condition. You are in the hospital. Suddenly you hear there's a doctor in America or Europe or like China who can heal your sickness. Suddenly you feel very happy. You feel almost you are free from the sickness because your mind is totally diverse. But the actual cause to achieve happiness is the practicing the Dharma. Dharma. Again, when you hear practice Dharma, it doesn't mean open the Dharma book, you just read for 24 hours without stopping, you read the books. No. Without stopping, you chant, you recite mantra. No. These are not the genuine or actual practicing Dharma. That means how we can practice Dharma. First, you check your thoughts. When you feel unhappy, check your thoughts. Then you will notice, because all the negative thoughts are the cause to produce unhappiness. Then you need to control, you really need to fight with the negative thoughts. Also, when you reflect on your thoughts, yes, the compassion, kindness, tolerance, good heart are the cause to achieve happiness, produce happiness. Then you really have to be friend. Always be friend with the positive thoughts. Right now, what we do, We destroy the positive thoughts, which is produce happiness. We always support the negative thoughts, which is always produce sufferings. Therefore, we are not happy at all. Right? Therefore, today we discuss a little bit about the inner condition. Before that, there's a, so please everybody read all the pages. Yes, I don't think there's any problems to understand. Similarly, page number 99, first, second, the fourth paragraph. Similarly, the inner dependent arising also arises from two principles. From what two principle? From a causal relation and the conditional relation. What then? In this causal relation, the inner dependent arising starts with the ignorance. Causing formation. Ignorance causing formation. And so on until finally birth, cause aging and death. If ignorance does not arise, the formations does not manifest, and so on until finally the birth does not arise, then aging and death do not manifest. Likewise, from the existence of ignorance, formations occur, and so on until finally from the existence of birth comes aging and death. Then ignorance does not think I produce formation, nor do formation think we are produced by ignorance, and so on. Finally, birth does not think I produce aging and death, nor do aging and death think I am produced by birth. Nevertheless, formation take form and arise through the existence of ignorance and so on, until finally aging and death take form and arise through the existence of birth. So here what we need to remember, when we think about, oh, I'm not happy, I want to overcome from suffering, I want to overcome samsara. Now, always need to think, yes, the ignorance is the root, is the king. I must get rid of the ignorance. Otherwise, for example, living in Singapore, because Singapore weather is always hot, not daily hot, it's very, very hot, it's always hot. Therefore, look at, every day we need to take a shower, maybe 2 times or 3 times. Is that not the right solution? Right solution. If you don't want to take shower every day, still want to stay in Singapore, you cannot. You wish to stay in Singapore, don't want to take a shower maybe once a day or twice a day. It's not logical. You want to stay in Singapore, you need to take a shower every day. If you don't want to take a shower, you should not stay in Singapore. You move, cooling place like Tibet. You don't need to take a shower every day. Maybe it's okay to take a shower once a month, maybe once a year. Or maybe you don't need to take a shower. It's okay. Same way, you don't want to be, suffered. Don't want suffering. Want to be free from sufferings. Cut the ignorance. How? Realize emptiness. Also, please, you should not think, oh, I'm not intelligent, or I don't have enough lot of Dharma knowledge. I don't think I can realize emptiness. No, it's not true. You don't have to be, very intelligent. You don't need to do a lot of study about dharma. This is, I think, very simple way you can realize emptiness. Therefore, I said many times, you just observe the things around you. For example, what is this? It's a remote control. Just you hold the remote control in your hands. You just observe what is this remote control, how it does it exist, how it function. Then you will notice there are so many things put together. When you open, like there's one, you open one by one. You really cannot say, oh, this is the remote control. That is the remote control. So many things come together, put together, that we just, designate this is a remote control. We thought, all the parts, you cannot define this is a remote control. Remote control is there. It has a function, but it is not there as an independent remote control. It depends on many causes and conditions. Based on this two many things put together, we just label as a remote control. Just reflect things around you. How does it exist? You will realize emptiness. Please should not be very discouraged. Be discouraged. Oh, I'm not intelligent. I don't have a lot of time to study Dharma. I don't think I realize emptiness. If you think that way, then you're not going to put effort. You're not trying to realize emptiness this lifetime. Then after we died, then I don't think we will have another opportunity to receive teaching about emptiness. I don't think we have another opportunity, another good chance to study Dharma. Then means when we lose this opportunity, then we really lost the opportunity to look like forever. It's not easy to have this kind of opportunity in life. So in order to realize emptiness, aging and death, it's very simple. I give you a very simple example. I think every day you go by MRT, by train. You just sit on the train. You think I'm just sitting stillness. Actually, you are not. You are moving so fast. You are moving so fast. You are not staying there. You don't realize. When you observe the people in the train, you can see so many people has a different expression. Somebody looks very happy. Somebody looks very upset. Somebody looks very healthy. Somebody looks very unhealthy. That means samsara is like that. Also, when you observe people on the train reach to one station, MRT station, many people get on, many people get off. That means life like this, somebody born yesterday, somebody died yesterday. Somebody born this morning, somebody died yesterday. Look like we are on the MRT. Within the MRT, you can see so many people, get off, get in, get off and get in. When you observe all the people, you can see somebody does, very nicely, carry very expensive bag, expensive mobile, expensive watch, expensive jewelry, their looks very happy. If you really observe very closely, center of the heart, they hide the miseries, the problems, suffering. They just cover the body with a nice clothes, expensive like a jacket and coats, expensive shoes. Actually, inside, the suffering is there. So you just observe when you are in the MRT, when you're in the bus. So samsara like that, impermanence like that, aging and death like this. Therefore, the train is moving very fast, very fast. We think I'm just sitting here. No, actually, you are moving. That means every moment, every day, we are reaching to our last destination of this life, which is death. Every moment we are closer to the death, closer to the the coffin, closer to the cemetery. So when the death comes, what we can bring? Who will go with you? We cannot bring anything except the karma. Nobody can go with you. Nobody you can bring with you. Doesn't mean somebody says, oh, I love you. We live together forever. We died together. It's just saying. Actually, nobody. Therefore, when we think, practicing Dharma, just think in observing the people on the train. A lot of fighting, a lot of argument, bad reactions. It's a very funny thing when you observe people on the MRT, particularly, some getting off, getting in, all the expression is very interesting. So today we can stop here for the lesson. So we can have a Q&A. So please feel free. If you don't want to tell your name, you no need to tell. You don't want to show your face, you no need to show. Still you can ask question. You can share your experience freely. Please feel free, have a question.
Yeah, Geshe-la, Sandy would like to clarify. He says that emptiness and no self, anatta, are synonymous.
Okay, very simple way. It depends on that tenets. According to the Pasangika, selflessness, emptiness is a same, because they have a same kind of definition of negation. According to Pasangika, emptiness of the person is selflessness. Emptiness of the phenomena, emptiness of the other phenomena. Yes, according to Pasangika, we can say same. I don't want to confuse you, okay? So the rest of the tenets, there's a different meaning of, there's a different level. Selflessness is a gross, emptiness is subtle. Pasangika, we can symbol, we can say yes, a same.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Yeah. Christine, would you like to unmute yourself and ask questions? Thank you.
Yes, Geshe-la, can you please explain the distinction between right view and right thoughts? Both of them are mental, right?
Yes, you are very correct. Because a right view, right thoughts, both of these are mind, is based on mind. For example, when you look at the things, you will realize, oh, the thing is look like that. That you have a right view. You are viewing the right way. You are looking the right way, how the thing exists. The right thoughts, since you realize, yeah, this is like this, then you always have the same thoughts about the thing. For example, today you will study about the remote control. After you analyze, after you study, you will notice, oh, it is actually impermanence. Impermanence, you have a right view. The next, when you see the remote control, if you forgot it's impermanent, that means you don't have a right thoughts. Right thoughts. Therefore, first we have a right view. You have to look the right way, how things exist. That means you are looking from the object side. You are looking the object. Second, The right thoughts is your daily life. You need to apply the thoughts. For example, today, this morning, you realize impermanence. All the conditioned phenomena are impermanent. You have realized. Then lunchtime, when you see someone, when you meet someone, when you meet your friends, if you think, oh, I met you yesterday, right? Oh, I'm so happy to see you again. Yes, conventionally we have to say like that. If you really think, oh, I'm meeting the same person which I met yesterday, that means you don't have a right thoughts. You have a mistaken thoughts. Clear? Yes, usually we say, oh, I met you last year. We are saying you are pointing the person who are right in front of you. You say, I met you last year. It's contradiction. The person is here right now. How you had seen this person last year? The person who you saw last year, the person is totally, sees. This person is the continuum of the person. Therefore, the right view, the right thoughts has a different meaning. Means you have a right view, sometimes we have a mistaken thoughts. The right view, the right thoughts always must go together. Without right view, we cannot have a right thoughts. You have a right view, sometimes you cannot apply, you cannot remember the right thoughts. Quite clear?
Yes, thank you, Geshe-la.
Welcome.
天空师兄，你可以提问了。
早上好，可惜师傅，我想请教一下，就是说，顺12因缘跟逆12因缘它有什么区别呢？
Yes. First, cause and result. Cause and result. Among the Four Noble Truths, particularly the suffering and origin of suffering. Origin of suffering. So when you meditate from the forward way, so you are mainly try to understand the result. You try to have a conviction about result. For example, we wish to build 3-store house, 3-store building. Then what we do to think, oh, I want to build 3-store building, I want to stay on the 3rd floor. Then you must think, oh, first I must build the foundation, the 2nd store, then 3rd store I can build. You are focusing to the result. Then the 3rd store depend on the 2nd. The 2nd store depend on the 1st. The 1st depend on the foundation. You are practicing. You are trying to have a right conviction about the cause. The reverse, try to understand the actual cause. The forward, try to understand the result. In same way, like a path and cessation. For example, if we go the forward, not the reverse. First, the renunciation very important. The renunciation mean you need strong, pure desire to overcome from samsara and wish to achieve liberation. You must renunciation. Then, if you wish to benefit all sentient beings or want to take the responsibility to be all sentient beings happy, then great compassion. Renunciation, great compassion can raise bodhicitta. Bodhicitta can produce the first bhumi, second, third, fourth, fifth. Then first, second, third, fourth, fifth bhumi can produce 7, 8, 9, 10 bhumis. The 10 bhumis can produce the Buddhahood, enlightened state. Mean you can see, oh, in order to reach the enlightened state, I must follow these steps. You are focusing the result. So then again, oh, Buddhahood, achieving Buddhahood depend on the 10 bhumi, 9, 8, fast, then bodhicitta, then the renunciation, great compassion, renunciation. That means in order to achieve Buddhahood, I must have this actual cause. Yes, these two, sequences are very important. Yeah. Quite clear? 你听得懂吗？
我听懂一点点，28天。
哦，一点点听到，好，啊 no， 一点点，你都知道。Okay, next question, please.
That's all for now at the moment, Geshe-la.
Okay, no question.
Geshe-la,
Mhm.
could you kindly explain the three suffering of suffering, suffering of change, and pervasive condition suffering?
Okay, so here what Buddha said, no, I think Dharma did this. So I said, I think maybe 1 week ago, among the Four Noble Truths, the truth of suffering, actually we don't need any introduction about sufferings, particularly, this time. In the past, ancient time, let's say 100 years ago, 200 years ago, all the people mainly may be facing some like a physical problem like sickness, disease. Emotionally, they are very happy. They don't have a lot of emotional problems. And this time, I think every people has a certain physical problems, physical sickness. Everybody has a very obvious, very strong emotional, mental sufferings and mental problems. Mental suffering, I'm not referring to here like a becoming mad. No, always feel, very lot of emotional problems. For example, based on my observation, so when I was in Zanskar, when I was around let's say 10 years old, or 9 or 10 years, 8 years old, we didn't have a name, like a cash, no money, no bank loan, no credit card, no salary. Very simple. You work yourself, cultivate, like crops, like barley, beans, take animals, you have enough butter, enough milk, also you can have a meat, you can have a leather, you can have a skin, you have a hair to make clothes. If you need to build a house, you don't build, a 4 or 5 store building, a 2 store building. When you build a house, very simple, you can ask people around your village. They willingly come to help you. Next time, when they build house, you must go and, support. Very simple. They don't have a lot of emotional problems, lot of economic problems. Right? This time, particularly living in Singapore, I really can see the emotional or mental problem. Life is so stressful. You don't have a money, how you can pay electricity bill, water bill. When you're sick, all hospital, you have to pay a lot of money. Then, if you don't have a credit card, another problem. Once you have a credit card, you have problems. Actually, this day, we no need introduction of our sufferings. Everybody realize the sufferings problem. But one problem we have, we don't know how to overcome. Therefore, sufferings is not like mainly three. First, suffering. Even though like sickness, disease, headache, those are suffering. Even though animal, the dog, cat, the birds, they can realize the suffering. When they feel cold, they move to the warmer place. When they feel hungry, they search food. They realize the suffering. But they don't realize suffering of change. Most of human beings, they don't realize suffering of change. For example, when you feel cold, you wear warm clothes. You use the heating system to produce heat. When the heat comes on you, you feel very happy, very comfortable. You realize, also you recognize this is happiness. Actually, this is suffering of change. Mean before you have a very strong sufferings, then the suffering, change into another type of suffering. But another type of suffering, we haven't realized this is suffering. We recognize always this is happiness. This is, changing of suffering. Is mainly, I think, there's a physically changing of suffering, the mentally changing of suffering. Then also this type of suffering, most of human beings can realize. If we try to understand, try to realize, they can realize. Otherwise, usually people think, it's a very happy, or I'm not happy in Singapore, I want to go for holiday for 1 month. While you are on the holiday for 1 month, you feel very happy. Actually, there also another type of sufferings. Then the pervasive suffering is a Tibetan called khabba, means it's a pervasive, pervasive for everybody who has the physical body. The body is actually another type of sufferings. Is suffering pervasive for all sentient beings. Even the Bodhisattva who reached to the 10th Bhumi, the next few months, he or she will become a Buddha. Still he or she, him or her has the physical body, the pervasive suffering. They don't have suffering. They don't have a changing of suffering. Still they have the pervasive suffering because of the physical body. This body. Therefore, the first suffering is a normal what we consider, this is suffering. Like a sickness, disease, headache, all this problem is we call suffering. Second, changing of suffering, the pleasant feeling, the happiness, the happy feeling, we consider is a happiness. Actually, it is a changing of suffering that some mind change into another type of feeling. We just recognize a happiness. Actually, is also suffering. The pervasive suffering means actually the physical body, doesn't matter the gross body, subtle body, very subtle body. Actually, is also the origin or basis of all kinds of suffering. Therefore, I said many times, we need house because this is a body. We need clothes because this body. We need food and drink because this body. Hospital because body. Supermarket, what they sell, mainly sell things for the body. Food, drink, clothes, medicine, right? Therefore, 99% things we need is mainly for physical body. Therefore, the physical body is the basis of suffering. Actually, the nature is sufferings. For example, if you don't take care of your body in Singapore for 1 week, you don't take a shower, you don't wash your clothes, you can feel the smelly, right? Therefore, there's a 3 types of suffering. The first types of suffering, even the all animal can recognize. The second type of suffering can realize the people who study Dharma. Otherwise, other people who don't study Dharma, they don't realize the second type of suffering. The third type of suffering can be realized who has a profound knowledge of Dharma. As a Buddhist, when we say, you just meditate on the suffering, you just directly meditate, suffering of the pervasive sufferings. Also, when somebody talk about suffering, they're not talking about suffering of change, mainly talking about the pervasive suffering. Okay, is there any question? Otherwise, we can stop our class today here.
There are questions, Geshe-la.
Yes.
The next one comes from Hui Ling. Geshe-la, I realize we have a tendency to engage in gossiping when we work in an office environment or social gathering. How do we practice right speech in this context?
Generally, it depends on the person's nature. Someone naturally like to have a lot of gossiping, like to talk. It's important or unimportant, it like to talk all the time. If you are this kind of person, first, we remember there's according to Indian ancient tradition, there's a few steps. Somebody say, hey, I need to tell you something. The person says, are you telling me the truth or fact? If you're going to tell me the fact, I don't want to listen. It is a fact, I don't care. No. I need to tell you something which is truth. Oh, it is benefit me or not? It's not important for me, not my business. I don't want to listen. It is a truth. It's real. I don't want to listen. Why I have to listen? No. It's benefit for you. You must listen. Third one, is harmful other or not? Here is benefit for me. It will be harmful other or not? Will it be harmful other or not? Oh, yeah, it can be very important for you, but it can be harmful other. Also say, no, I don't want to listen. Right? There's a few, I think, steps when the person listen about talking. Therefore, if you naturally very talkative, you must think, is benefit for me or benefit for, I'm talking the truth or not? Yeah, you're talking the truth. Is benefit for you or benefit others? There's no any benefit. There's no point to talk. There is benefit for you, harm for others, should not talk. because in a one hand benefit, other hand is very harmful. So you need to think that is there a benefit or not, the beneficial of gossiping. And also sometimes is, somebody is gossiping about you. First we have to be patient. You have to be patient. Oh yeah, everybody, yeah, there's so many people is talk like that, I don't care. You have to be patient. It's good to be patient. And the gossips go around everywhere. Your families go to your friends. You never say anything. You never respond about the gossiping. Then people really believe, oh, you have done something wrong. Then slowly people believe, oh, you have been doing something wrong. You have done something wrong, which is no good. Then finally you have a bad image. If this kind of case, you must talk directly the people who making gossip about you. You should not talk when the person is alone. No benefit. You must respond. You must talk to the person when the person is with friends and someone. That you need to explain, you need to talk directly. Therefore, first you need to think the benefit of gossiping or gossiping. Whom going to be benefit? Nobody going to benefit. You should not talk too much. Benefit for you, benefit for someone, harm for other, don't talk. Right? Therefore, the right. They say you should not talk. The right speech, right talk. Mean you're going to talk, it must be truthful. When you talk the right amount, don't talk too much. I have one bad tendency. I can listen to someone for 1 hour very focusfully. I really can focus for 1 hour, listen what the person is talking about. After 1 hour, I become very, kind of annoying. It's same for others. When you talk too much, too long, then when you go there, people run away. They know you talk too much, you're making a lot of gossiping. It depends on the person's nature. Also, there's a way you can change yourself. Yeah. Thank you. Any question? I think it's almost already 12:30. So I really appreciate all of you to continuously attending, the Dharma class. My motivation is just one motivation, only benefit for others. I don't have any other interest. So therefore, please, you listen my talk, but you should not believe what I said, what I talk. You do some analyze. Also, you read some books. You think, oh, what Geshe said is true because this book mentioned, this master, that master saying. Then you can accept what I taught. Right? If you think it's a nonsense thing, I'm not really forcing you to accept. My motivation, there's only one motivation, to benefit others. So thank you so much. Attend the Dharma class and have a happy Sunday. So at the end, so we do dedication, dedicate the merit which we have accumulated during our Dharma class, because at the beginning we had a great motivation, which is bodhicitta. Then we have taken refuge. Then we do analytical meditation about the 12 links dependent originations. Then we talk about, the Eightfold Paths. Therefore, we have accumulated great amount of merit. All the merit today we dedicate for world peace. Dedicate the merit for reducing the COVID-19 problems. Jamba Bhavya Chitara Kempa Nam Kundu Sambo Deyang Dejen Deda Gunje Jesu Dalo Jenge Wan Dida Damje Rabu Chaze Wadang Chujin Sheba Dang Jesu Yiran Gujin So Gewa Junze Dagi Jizaba Tamje Sobe Jangju Chenpo